Have you ever noticed that the real danger never comes from the enemies we can see, but from those who walk beside us carrying the most lethal weapon that exists, the unshakable certainty of someone who stopped thinking? There's a type of person capable of dismantling entire civilizations without firing a shot, without raising a sword, simply by repeating empty words with the conviction of someone who believes they're saving the world. And the worst part is that person could be you. In the midst of World War II chaos, while Europe burned and millions marched blindly toward the abyss, a German theologian named Dietrich Bonhoeffer observed something that terrified him more than battlefields, more than bombs, more than tanks tearing through the streets. He realized that the true catastrophe wasn't in the sadistic generals or psychopathic leaders. It was in ordinary people. Educated, well-intentioned people who woke up every day, kissed their children, went to work, and participated in building hell on earth without even realizing it. Bonhoeffer called this stupidity, but not the stupidity you imagine. It wasn't lack of intelligence. It was something infinitely more sinister, the voluntary renunciation of critical thinking, the surrender of one's own mind to an external narrative, transforming human beings into walking echoes of ideas they never questioned. And he concluded something devastating. Against stupidity, even the gods fight in vain. Think for a moment about the most intelligent people you know. Doctors, engineers, professors, people with diplomas on the walls and awards on the shelves. Now answer me, how many of them have you seen defending absurd ideas with irrational passion? How many times have you witnessed someone brilliant become a megaphone for propaganda, incapable of hearing arguments, impervious to reason, armored by ideology? This is the essence of Bonhoeffer's paradox. Stupidity is not a cognitive problem, it's a moral problem. It happens when we let something or someone think for us. And the most frightening part? It's contagious. The stupidity Bonhoeffer identified doesn't arise from ignorance, but from arrogance disguised as virtue. It's that person who chooses a side and transforms their entire identity into that choice, until any criticism of the side becomes a personal attack. It's the guy who stops asking questions because he already has all the answers. It's the woman who replaces curiosity with certainty, dialogue with ready-made discourse, thought with slogans. And the system loves this. Every authoritarian regime, every cult, every movement seeking control doesn't need monsters. It needs people willing to turn off the button of doubt and press play on obedience. You know this person. Maybe they're in your family. Maybe it's your co-worker, the one who always has a ready explanation, a conspiracy theory on the tip of their tongue, an absolute truth for every complex problem. And when you try to talk, when you try to present another angle, another perspective, it's like talking to a concrete wall. No matter how many facts you bring, how much evidence you present, nothing penetrates. Because stupidity in Bonhoeffer's sense isn't about not knowing, it's about refusing to learn. It's mental impermeability transformed into virtue. And this person doesn't see themselves as foolish. They see themselves as enlightened, awake, on the right side of history. But here's the question that should keep you up at night. What if that person is you? What if, at this exact moment, you're so immersed in an ideological bubble, so convinced of your own narrative, so sure of your conclusions, that you've become exactly what Bonhoeffer feared? How would you know? How would any of us know? The insidious nature of moral stupidity is that it's invisible to whoever carries it. Nobody wakes up in the morning and thinks, today I'm going to be a functional idiot. We all believe we're thinking for ourselves. We all believe we're on the correct side. We're all certain that we're the lucid ones, while the rest of the world has gone mad. And if you're feeling now that familiar discomfort, that urge to close this video because it's touching nerves you'd prefer to keep dormant, congratulations. That means there's still a living thinker inside you. But if you're enthusiastically agreeing and thinking of 10 people who need to hear this, be careful. That might be the first sign of the problem. If this idea has already resonated with you, if you recognize these patterns in the world around you, then imagine what comes next. Subscribe so you don't miss this journey, because we're going deeper and deeper into the labyrinth of the human mind. Bonhoeffer observed that stupidity always flourishes in the soil of power. It's the shadow of every unquestioned authority, of every truth that cannot be challenged, of every leader who demands devotion instead of dialogue. And notice the diabolical genius of this mechanism. The system doesn't need to enslave people by force. It just needs to offer something irresistible, an identity, a purpose, a tribe, a common enemy. And people voluntarily surrender their minds, relieved to no longer have to carry the weight of thinking for themselves. It's a silent transaction, your mental autonomy in exchange for belonging, your capacity to question in exchange for certainty, your humanity in exchange for a cause that tells you who you are. And history shows us, time and again, how this transaction ends. It's not tyrants alone who build gulags, concentration camps, or torture chambers. It's thousands of ordinary people doing their jobs, following orders, repeating mantras, convinced they're serving a greater good. Hannah Arendt called this the banality of evil. Bonhoeffer went further. He saw that we don't even need conscious evil. We just need moral stupidity. Good people doing terrible things because they stopped thinking about what they were doing. And the world bleeds not by the hands of monsters, but by the complicity of well-intentioned fools. But perhaps you're thinking, that happened in the past, in Nazi Germany, in totalitarian regimes. Today, we're different. We're free. Are we really? Look around you. We live in the age of infinite information and maximum polarization. We have access to all human knowledge in the palm of our hand, but instead of wiser, we're more divided, more radicalized, more trapped in echo chambers, where we only hear voices that confirm what we already believe. Social media, these tools that promise to connect humanity, have become factories of mass stupidity, algorithms designed not to make us smarter, but to keep us engaged, clicking, sharing, reacting. And what's the emotion that engages most? Anger, indignation, moral certainty. Do you find yourself consuming content that challenges your beliefs or only that which reinforces them? Do you actively seek opposing perspectives or surround yourself with voices that sing the same song? When was the last time you changed your mind about something important? When was the last time you admitted being wrong, not because you were forced to, but because you found a deeper truth? If these questions bother you, if it seems impossible to imagine changing your position on themes you consider fundamental, then perhaps you're already imprisoned. Not by external chains, but by the most resistant of all, the chains you yourself forged and chose to wear. But there's an even deeper secret that few know, a way back from stupidity to wisdom, and it begins with 3 words our age despises. I don't know. When was the last time you honestly pronounced that phrase? We live in a culture of instant experts, where everyone has a formed opinion about everything, where admitting ignorance is seen as weakness, where uncertainty is treated as sin. But the true sages, from Socrates to Bonhoeffer, understood that wisdom begins exactly where certainty ends. I know that I know nothing isn't false modesty. It's the portal to real thinking. The cure for moral stupidity isn't more information. We have plenty of information. The cure is intellectual humility. It's the willingness to say, I might be wrong. It's the courage to examine your own beliefs with the same skeptical rigor you apply to others' beliefs. It's treating your conclusions not as sacred truths, but as temporary hypotheses that must be constantly tested against reality. It's understanding that changing your mind isn't betrayal, it's growth, and that the most dangerous person in any room isn't the one who knows little, but the one who's too certain. Bonhoeffer gave us a diagnosis, but also a remedy, personal responsibility for one's own thinking. Nobody can free you from stupidity if you don't decide to free yourself. No leader, no guru, no system, only you, in the silence of your own mind, making the most difficult choice that exists. To think, really think, not repeat, not regurgitate, not perform thinking for an audience, but to sit with uncomfortable questions. Confront contradictions in your own beliefs, admit when facts don't fit the narrative you prefer. And this has a cost. It always does. Thinking for yourself inevitably means disappointing someone. Your family, your friends, your tribe, your party, your group, because the moment you start questioning, you become a problem for any system that depends on obedience. Bonhoeffer paid with his life. He was executed by the Nazis weeks before the war's end, but he died free, while millions of his compatriots survived as slaves of their own minds. And this is the choice we all face, every day: live comfortably stupid or dangerously awake. So here's the big revelation, the secret that runs through all human history and that you already knew but pretended not to know. You are capable of destroying the world. Not the physical world, perhaps, but the world of ideas, of relationships, of trust, of truth. A single person armed with unshakable certainty and mental impermeability can poison an entire family, can radicalize a community, can provide the spark that sets nations ablaze. The great horrors of history never began with a solitary monster. They began with ordinary people who said yes when they should have said no, who repeated slogans when they should have asked questions, who marched in formation when they should have walked alone. But you're also capable of saving the world, not alone, not in a heroic or dramatic way, but by refusing to participate in collective stupidity, by keeping alive the small flame of healthy doubt, by treating each conversation not as a battle to win, but as an opportunity to learn. You become a different kind of force. A silent resistance against the ocean of cheap certainties that threatens to drown everyone. You become what Bonhoeffer was, a witness that it's still possible to think, even when the whole world has stopped. And this is your choice, here and now. Not a single choice, but a choice that renews itself every moment. Every conversation is a test. Will you listen to understand or to rebut? Every new piece of information is an opportunity. Will you investigate or dismiss based only on who said it? Every challenge to your beliefs is a gift. Will you reject it with anger or examine it with curiosity? The idiot who can destroy the system isn't a category of person. It's a possibility that lives in each of us, waiting for the moment when we lower our guard and let something think for us. So wake up, not to one side or the other. Wake up to the reality that you, yes you, are the only guardian of your own mind. And if you hand over the keys, if you outsource your thinking to algorithms, ideologies, tribes, or charismatic leaders, you'll become the threat Bonhoeffer identified. Not a monster, just another well-intentioned fool, paving the road to hell with your unexamined certainties. The freedom that matters isn't political or economic. It's the freedom to think, and it must be conquered anew every day, every thought, every choice between repeating what you were told or discovering what is true. If this message moved you, if you recognize something of yourself in this uncomfortable mirror, then don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, comment your reflections, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Maybe precisely that person who will violently disagree. And subscribe to the channel, because we'll continue exploring these ideas nobody wants to touch. These truths that disturb but liberate, because in the end, there are only two types of people: those who think and those who repeat. And the world already has too many repeaters.